This story is about a fellow named David Cathcart. Cathcart. He basically was a very devout Catholic, and with 4 sons, was active in the Boy Scouts, was very generous in giving his time to charitable causes with the parish, and through that process of giving his charitable services, he became involved and became aware of an orphanage down in Ensenada, California, that used to be run by a Christian couple that basically got so old, the husband died and the wife got old and left the orphanage in the hands of their assistant, Gabriel Diego, who basically had let the place run down. Their roofs were dilapidated, no windows, no beds. It just was a mess. So it touched his heart. He got involved by coming back here and raising money, donating it down to the orphanages. Within the first 4 or 5 months, they raised over $100,000, and he became so active in that cause and kind of blessed the lives of these kids that he was knocking on every door and raising fundraisers, getting Raquel Welch and other actresses and actors and people involved in galas. They had raised $50,000 one night from a fundraiser. So he formed a nonprofit organization to handle that, and the goal was that he would then, it was real simple. He would raise the money, send it down to Mexico, and Gabriel Diego was supposed to send him back receipts showing that they were using those funds to help the kids. Well, the problem was the receipts weren't coming back. And so he kept demanding, and finally got a set of books and looked at it, and then it didn't quite make sense. Got another set of books that conflicted completely. So he drove down to Ensenada and confronted Diego and said, "You've got to get me all the receipts, do a full accounting on this place, or I'm going to go to the authorities and turn you in for potentially embezzlement." Well, he was immediately kicked off the premises. He drove home, and soon after he got back, he got a phone call from the orphanages saying that one of the kids had fallen, got hurt. They're at the hospital. They need him to rush back to go ahead and help pay for the hospital so that save this little injured boy. So he hopped in the car, rushed down to the hospital in Ensenada, only to find the police waiting for him, being arrested, accused of child molestation. He was thrown into a Mexican jail where they do not have anything for you. You have what you bring with you or what people give you. No toilet paper, no toothpaste, no bed, nothing. It's just what you have is what you come with or what people will give you. Not only that, because of the charges, and especially being a gringo, he had to be in basically consolatory confinement in order to protect his own life for like 9 months at least for this initial time period. So the family, of course, just thought it's some big mistake, some big problem. So they went ahead and called around, checking with everybody, hired some Mexican attorneys. And they finally had a trial, and he hardly knew what was going on, but found out he was convicted to 12 years in prison in Mexico's Ojos Negros, Black Eyes jail, and for child molestation. And of course, his family just couldn't believe what happened, so they're now writing letters to everybody, authorities to try to intervene, hiring different attorneys to try to deal with the situation, all to no avail. Then 7 years later, now he's in jail for 7 years down in Ensenada. They hire Will Ballard, who gets involved, and at first he's kind of real skeptical. He's never dealt with people accused of child molestation before, but he lived in Mexico for a number of years and as a missionary and is familiar with the culture and some of the people, and he did some cross-border legal work. So he went down and interviewed the David Cathcart and found him. This truly was an innocent man. His legal instincts knew immediately that he was innocent. So he got involved and tried to resurrect the story. Tried to get the judge to reopen the case, who was very skeptical at first, but she finally allowed him to, okay, if you can try to come up with something new, we can go ahead and see if we can take a second look at it. And so interviewing the different people, the employees absolutely felt that David was innocent. He always loved the kids. There was never involved around when there would ever be potentially could be a problem. But 4 kids had testified that he had raped them, and so they be able to track down the kids. 3 of them had now grown up, adults, and were out of the orphanage, and so he met with them. All 3 of them said, "Oh no, he didn't molest us or bother us in any way. He was a wonderful man, but we were forced to do it because Diego, threatened us. He would repeatedly beat us and was going to throw us out on the street. We had no choice." And so, but when they recant their story, they say, "Oh, we're terrified of Diego. He knows where we live." They were really hesitant to even testify, even after being out of the orphanage. But thank goodness, the one youth boy that was 9 at the time, now is 16, came forward on his own. And he also said the same thing. And so then the others fell in line. They went into the court, and they basically testified that he was completely innocent, and confronted Diego in court and accused him of beating them with not just with their hands, but with pipes and with big sticks and kicking them, all sorts of things. And at that point, then the judge found David completely innocent, and actually instructed the prosecutor to do an investigation of the orphanage. But while they were, yay, finally. But while they were now doing the paperwork to get him released, Diego, who had left that courtroom vowing that David would never see the light of day as a free man, went into action. And 3 days before he was to be released, David now was charged with drug trafficking, which would account for another 25-year sentence. 2 guards at the prison made statements about saying that they found drugs in his cell 2 years before. Of course, never even heard of that. No one ever mentioned anything about it before, no records about it, etc. So then the date for the hearing on this drug trafficking charge, lo and behold, the guards didn't show up, because they'd been given a 30-day vacation that very morning and told to go away. And and of course, guards don't get 30 days vacation. Maybe a week, maybe 2 if they've been there for a real long time. So anyway, they basically, the judge was not happy. Eventually got the guards back in, have them testify, and of course their stories changed repeatedly from what their statements were, what they were there. They conflicted with each other, so the judge figured out what was going on and basically ruled that there was no evidence whatsoever to support the drug trafficking allegation, and thank goodness was able to then, about almost 2 weeks later, a week or so later, David was finally released at 10:30 at night, and was able to then come home and be a free man.